Ladies and gentlemen, can I thank you for being present today on this very auspicious occasion? And can I, on your behalf, at last welcome Madam Rajavi to this august building which has meant so much for human rights and for nations working together. Madam Rajavi, it's a delight to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, I was shocked, as I've no doubt you were, when the news of Camp Ashraf massacre of September the 1st reached us. And I was equally disturbed by the video footage that followed. And you only need to look at these horrific pictures to know what the forces of Iraq did. The people who were told they would be protected under the 4th Geneva Convention. And this is what we call protection? I think not. And I know you think not too. Who for so long have been a beacon of freedom in their own country. I realize now that I see the bodies lying out there, massacred, shot from close range, many of them handcuffed, and others while they were being treated in the camp's clinic after they were attacked by a machine gun, others gunned down in the very act of delivering mercy. The assassins even shot those in the clinic who were trying to treat the wounded in this criminal attack. A scene forever lodged in my memory, and I'm sure yours. And that scene truly reveals the bravery of those individuals who simply wanted to help their fellow man and woman in an act that constitutes a crime against humanity. And all that our governments did was to condemn these brutal killings instead of undertaking specific steps to bring the culprits to justice. Calling upon the Iraqi government to launch an inquiry into the bloodbath in Ashraf is, quite frankly, farcical. It is utterly naive to expect the perpetrators of these crimes to carry out an impartial investigation into their own conduct. I believe that the fact that our governments and the UN broadcast, sent out such weak signals over the years to Iraq, and as a consequence, I believe the Iraqi forces, at the behest of the Iranian regime, carried out these atrocities, convinced that they could get away with it. What a tragedy for humankind that is. As I speak, 7 Ashrafis, including 6 women, who were abducted during the recent massacre, are being held as hostages in a prison in Iraq which is under the control of the Iraqi Prime Minister's special forces. Knowing what the Iranian regime is capable of in terms of torture and execution, I fear for the lives of those 7 brave Ashrafis who also face the threat of extradition to Iran, which would be a clear breach of international law. I therefore make the following demands of my own government and the member states of the European Council. I demand that the US government and the UN take effective measures regarding the condition of the hostages and take steps to secure their immediate release. Furthermore, very decisive diplomatic and economic pressure should be applied by the government of Iraq. I demand that the UN monitoring team and the UN Blue Helmet forces should be stationed inside Camp Liberty at all hours of the day in order to prevent another massacre by Iraqi forces at the behest of the Iranian regime. I demand that protective gear should be delivered to Camp Liberty residents and the 17,500 T-walls used to protect the containers in which those residents live should be restored in order to guarantee their protection from missile and mortar attacks, which has claimed so many lives over the past year. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Madam Rajani, can I just welcome you, first of all, to the Blackboard of Europe for Human Rights, which is the Council of Europe. It's very important that I give it that title, because we all come here many, many times a year and work for the same endeavours, the same democracy, the same actions on behalf of ordinary men and women throughout Europe and elsewhere. I thank you in particular for your defence and your organisation on human rights of the people of Iran and the Middle East. We're very, very grateful indeed for you. And we're very, very grateful because you go on organising Camp Ashraf and protecting the people there as best you can. Can I first of all say that what I have seen from the evidence which is being put forward by the United Nations and Europe as a clear act of genocide against the people of Iran. 52 people were murdered, many of them handcuffed, unable to even protect themselves. They were taken away and they shot to the upper body and indeed the head. 7 people remain missing. On Thursday of this week, we will publish a very important report about missing people in various parts of the world. We want, first of all, the genocide to stop, the violence to stop, the intimidation to stop. We want the release of these 7 people. We want explanations of why the massacre took place, why indeed it happened, and indeed how it happened, and why it was against the terms of the Geneva Convention and whatever. And most of all, we want the protection of the people who actually reside in Camp Ashraf and elsewhere, Iranians, who are continuously harassed by this regime. And I wish you well in all your endeavours, colleagues, and I tell you this, Brian and I and others in the European Parliament, especially from the Labour Party and especially from the Conservative Party and in the British Parliament itself, will do everything we possibly can to not only expose these issues, but also to say that Iran must be brought to order and must pay and must release all these people from hostage. Thank you very much.